Good evening and welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Nadun Sirivardhana. Let's have a look at the headlines. Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma said that the IMF has released $334 million as part of the extended fund facility, making the total disbursement amount to $1.34 billion now. The Deputy Minister said this speaking at a press conference held at the Department of Government Information recently.
Based on the outcome of the IMF evaluation, we know approximately $334 million will be released as a result of the positive outcome. That will take the total disbursements up to $1.34 billion of the total package of nearly $2.9 billion over a 48 months period that it is to be delivered. About 2 weeks back, I met senior officials of IMF in Japan. We had very constructive discussions relating to the impending board meeting of the IMF to iron out any corners and to assure the commitment of the government to deliver and to do the right thing. As a country, as a government, we know many of the things had to be fixed, and those initiatives are common in some of the findings of the IMF program as well. The governance diagnostic program was one of them, where they were identifying several aspects as a nation that we need to improve in terms of our governance. As a government, we believed that is inevitable. For this country to progress, we need to improve our level of governance.
Speaking further at the press conference, the Deputy Minister said that government has negotiated with the IMF to reduce the services export tax to 15% to facilitate the growth of the services export industry.
Government's approach is to prioritize on the people's needs as the first item. That is where we negotiated with the IMF team within the framework wherever possible to provide relief, to facilitate the requirements of industries. One of them was the 50% reduction of the taxes that were imposed on service sector exports. Previous government has agreed to charge 50% tax on IT sector, particularly on service exports. Through our discussions and negotiations, the present government was able to reduce it by 50% to the accepted global level of 15%, which is in par with the global minimum taxation levels. That is to facilitate the growth of the industries. In doing so, another priority was not to leave any group in the society behind, to look after the vulnerable, to meet the requirements and ensure they are being integrated into the society in a way that they are able to contribute to the economic activities as we move forward. The focus on fiscal discipline is another important area as a government that we focused on to ensure no wastage of public money, no wastage of taxes collected, either through direct taxes as well as indirect taxes. That gives the confidence to the payers of taxes.
Now, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce has congratulated the government of Sri Lanka for successfully completing the third review under the IMF Extended Fund Facility Program. This milestone is expected to provide critical support for the country's ongoing economic recovery. As Sri Lanka progresses through its 4-year IMF program, the Chamber emphasizes the urgency of accelerating structural reforms to ensure long-term sustainable growth. Key focus areas include trade facilitation reforms like the National Single Window and a new Customs Act, advancing digital ID systems and public digital infrastructure, introducing the Economic Transformation Act and strengthening governance, and broadening the tax net through improved revenue administration and digitalization. The Ceylon Chamber reaffirms its commitment to working with policymakers to achieve these reforms, aiming not just for the successful completion of IMF reviews but also for a transformative growth path for Sri Lanka. Stay tuned, we will return after this commercial break. Welcome back. The Raigam Telly is the only telly and film award ceremony in the region held within the first quarter after the end of the year under review held its nomination evening at a hotel in Colombo last Friday. The iconic figure of Sinhala cinema, Lushan Bulat Sinhala, attended the event as the chief guest of the evening. The event's judging panel, chaired by media personality Buddhadasa Galappatti, includes experts like Ravindra Guruge, Professor Ariratna Kaluarachi, cinematographer Jayanth Gunawardana, and several other distinguished professionals. This year, awards will be presented across 4 main categories: Teledrama Excellence Awards, Television Media Excellence Awards, Most Popular Awards, Awards of Appreciation. The official awards night to determine the final winners will be held in Colombo on the 29th of this month.
මෙවැනි උළෙලක නිර්දේශිත නාමයක් ලැබීමට සුදුසුකම් ලැබීමම ජයග්‍රහණයක් හැටියට තමයි අප විශ්වාස කරන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ ඒක තමයි ලෝකයේ මෙවැනි උළෙලවල සාමාන්‍ය සම්ප්‍රදාය නිර්දේශය ලැබීම ජයග්‍රහණයක් හැටියට තමයි ඔවුන් සැලකන්නේ.
2024 ජනප්‍රිය නළුවා නිලිය සහ ජනප්‍රියතම ටෙලිනාට්‍යයට සම්මාන ලැබෙන්නේ ආදරණීය ප්‍රේක්ෂක ප්‍රේක්ෂිකාවන්ගේ SMS මනාප මත. ඉතින් ඒ SMS මත විමසුම නිල වශයෙන් ආරම්භ වන වගයි.
අගයීම් කරනවා වගේම කුසලතාවයන්ට ගරු කරනවා වගේම ඒ ගරු කිරීමේ ශක්තිය තමන් වෙතට උගහාගෙන කැපවීමෙන් මේ මාධ්‍ය හැසිරවීම මේ රටේ ජාතියේ අනාගතය සඳහා ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත්.
Now the Hambantota International Port received its first vehicle shipment since the lifting of import restrictions recently. The vessel MV Jupiter, leader operated by NYK Lanka, arrived carrying 378 vehicles from Japan, of which 196 are destined for Sri Lanka's local market. These included popular models like Land Cruisers, Hilux cabs, Prado SUVs, Toyota sedans and Suzuki Altos. The remaining 1,940 vehicles are set for transshipment to African markets, bringing the total handling volume to 2,318 units. HIP has implemented state-of-the-art infrastructure to meet the anticipated rise in vehicle imports. Key facilities include a dedicated customs inspection bay with 24/7 CCTV monitoring, secure storage options including a newly designed yard that can accommodate up to 4,000 vehicles, designated areas for importers and wharf clerks, and ensuring convenience during the clearance process. HIP's vehicle processing stations ensure smooth transitions from port to market, bolstered by a $10 million investment in upgraded infrastructure since 2018. The Sri Lanka Export Development Board has taken a step towards empowering small and medium enterprises on the global stage. Last month, 7 SMEs, including 4 women entrepreneurs, participated in a market exposure and capacity building program in Germany alongside the renowned Biofac Organic Trade Fair. Organized in collaboration with Germany's Import Promotion Desk and the Sri Lanka Embassy in Germany, this initiative provided SMEs with critical exposure to the European organic market. Through workshops, expert discussions and importer meetings, They explored strategies for market entry and the importance of building robust business networks. Visits to European supermarkets and factories gave these entrepreneurs an in-depth understanding of consumer expectations, pricing, labeling and compliance standards needed to compete globally. The SLEDB, recognizing the impact of this initiative, plans to continue supporting local entrepreneurs through similar efforts in the coming years. Stay tuned for the stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The All Share Price Index dropped by 311.37 points to close at 16,167.30, and the S&P SL20 dropped by 103.96 points to close at 4,827.21. The turnover was over 1.5 billion rupees and over 65 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.